Welcome back to Nick Lanz's Comic Corner Classic Last 9 Classics. This is episode number 1738 and Doubleshot number 1632. Excuse me, first we have some digital comics, and then we have some physical trade. Now, these are actually printed in the Wolverine by Daniel Way, the Complete Collection, Book 3. I was unable to get my hands on the trade, so here you go. Now, I'm covering most of the stuff published in that trade, except for there's a few issues of Wolverine. Basically, it collected Wolverine Origins 16 to 32. There was a couple backup stories, Wolverine Volume 3, which I'm going to cover both issues anyways. And it also collected 2 issues of X-Men Legacy and the one-shot known as X-Men Original Sin. Yeah, it was a crossover they had between this book and Legacy that kind of explored a little bit more into why Xavier hid docking existence from Wolverine. That was the whole point of the crossover. Now, I should point out, though, 16 to 25 are in fact the last 10 issues that the late Steve Dillon ever would draw for the book. Why he would leave? Well, I can't answer that question because he passed away a few years ago, one of my favorite artists. Maybe he felt as though it was time. 25 issue was good enough for him. Yes. Now, in the case of 16 to 20, it's a 5-part deal with Wolverine in World War II. Yep, that's mainly the gist of exactly what this story is. It's a World War II story featuring Wolverine in World War II, where he basically kind of meets Steve Rogers for the first time and has to go on an adventure with him. Yep, that's really the main gist of the story. I mean, aside from having Cap and Wolverine in the story, is there like any other characters who appear in this story arc? And here's a shocker for you. Dokken does not appear in the story arc. Nope, he doesn't. I gotta say, this is probably by far, in my opinion, one of my personal favorite stories related to Wolverine, because it's with the World War II setting. It's been, oh yeah, Sabretooth is here as well, because of course he is. It's Sabretooth. He hunts Wolverine for decades. Excuse me a minute. Sorry about that. Yeah. And also, because it's Captain America World War II, guess who also is here? Bucky Barnes. The original one. James Buchanan Barnes. Yeah, I believe this is one of the masses point because this is before D-Day. Yeah, I'd say definitely before D-Day this is probably taking place because it was, if I remember reading right, in the what Marvel publishes the retcon history of Captain America, is that not long after D-Day, Captain America disappears. Everybody thinking with Cap here, Bucky, and Wolverine, does Nick Fury make an appearance? Surprisingly, no. I don't think he does. And the story is called Our War. Now, Wolverine does not have his claws this period of time. Nope, doesn't have his claws. He does have his healing factor, though. Yes, he does. For some reason, he does not spring out the bone claws. Yes. That is never brought up at all in here. The bone claws, there's no animated skeleton. Nothing. Like, it's just basically just a good classic World War II story featuring Wolverine. Yes. And of course, the infantry Hydra camp where they run into, well, who's commonly associated with Hydra when it comes to Marvel Comics? Not Joe the Red Skull. That's something that the movies kind of basically put in there. His association is very loose with Hydra. He was never the head of it until the 2010s. It's always, a lot of the time, been headed by Baron Wolfgang von Strucker or one of his kids. Yeah. Like, I like the character Baron Wolfgang von Strucker. Great character. I don't like his fascism per se, but now in the case of Wolverine, this probably was the first time he ever met Baron Wolfgang von Strucker. Yes, probably it was. And they kind of wrap up the story by taking this Hydra cell, and that's it. It's a really good story arc. It's by far, out of the 25 issues that Steve Dillon did, this is probably his best one he ever did for the entire series. But I think, okay, oh wait, there is one other character I kind of forgot he popped up here because I'm rereading this now. Baron Zebo! And no, it's not the one who led Thunderbolts. It's his father, Baron Heinrich Zemo. Not Hamlet Zemo, Heinrich Zemo. Yes, this is the predecessor to the original one. And he's been dead since the 60s. Yeah, he got killed in Avengers number 6. No, wait. It was issue number 8, I believe it was. Yeah, issue 8, that's when they killed him off. He got killed in the most weirdest way possible. Like, apparently Captain America established, like, beggars don't kill. Yeah, he is killed. Where, like, he basically was cornering him in, like, a cliff, fired his gun off, and he got killed in an avalanche. Yeah, and then the issue ends with the appearance by a character pop up at the very next story arc. Deadpool! Yep, Deadpool pops up for the next 5 issues. Yep, and just Wolverine dealing with Deadpool and Cyber for the next 5 issues. Yeah, that's the main gist of these 5 issues, just Wolverine working with Deadpool. This, I believe, this is probably just a way because I think at the time this book was coming out, I think Dana was working on Deadpool at this point. So I figured, though, why not have him make a guest star appearance in this book? Yes. And it's back to present day now. Does Dokken appear in this story arc? No. I don't think he does. And here's something really interesting, though, about this story arc, per se. This is also, believe it or not, the last story arc of this entire series. Wolverine wears that god-awful brown and yellow costume in this book. Yeah, this is the last story arc he wears it because after he puts on a much better costume. Yeah, I know there's a friend of mine who actually loves this costume of Wolverine. Me, I do not like this costume at all. It is terrible. You could say this is Wolverine versus Deadpool for 5 issues. That's literally what this is. Wolverine versus Deadpool. And the story is called The Deep End. Yep. It's a fun story arc per se. But it's sad though the fact this was in fact Steve Dillon's last official story arc he did. Yeah, and he never skipped an issue for 25 issues. Nope, he didn't skip an issue. Unlike some artists would love to do that. Yeah, some artists will occasionally skip an issue either because they're not well or because they just want to skip an issue. But Steve Dillon's one of those artists like if he's going to commit to a run, he'll do every issue. He will commit to it. And then finally, toward the end of issue 24, now Dokken finally shows up after being absent for like 10 issues. Yep. And then for issue 25, Steve Dillon's last issue he drew for the book. Yes. Though I should point out, though, this is has the cover done by Simone Bacci. Yes, I believe this was the first cover done by him for this series. Yes, because that's Steve Dillon's artwork. Oh no, that's somebody else. And yeah, this was the last book that he worked on. Yeah, and then we have the Winter Soldier show up. Because Winter Soldier was responsible for what happened with Wolverine's wife in the 40s. And then Wolverine stab, he just basically, Dokken collapses and tries to deal with a way to deal with what happens next. And of course, they in the original issue, they reprinted Deadpool's first appearance from New Mutants number 98. 26-27 is just basically a two-parter that sets up the original crossover called Son of X. And they have a new artist as issues. Steven Zavalla. Yeah, it's a bit okay artwork per se. It's not terrible. Mostly put, it kind of explains exactly like how the Wolverine's time in Japan basically, while in the 40s, led to this. Yeah, just Wolverine remembering. That's pretty much what this is, a little bit of memory. And then at the other two part, they expect, they apparently don't know who they are. And it kind of helps sets up basically Original Sin. That's really the whole point of 27-28. Now, 31 and 32 is a two-parter. Yes, a two-parter. Now, Steven Zavalla, he had left the book. And you have Yannick Prek on the book. I'm like, interesting. Yes. He himself, really good artist. And yes, we finally have Wolverine wearing a good costume. Switched out with that brown costume. Yeah, it's weird though. I think maybe the reason why that he wore that costume for 25 issues because maybe Steve Dillon liked drawing that costume. Either that or Dane Way wanted that costume. I'm not really sure. But yeah, he's back in the blue-yellow costume. Yeah, but this costume is the costume that John Cassidy designed for him for Astonishing X-Men. And this two-parter is known as Family Business, where they run into old Wolverine bad guy Cyber for this two-parter. Yeah, and this kind of helps sets up the end of the book. Basically, this two-parter. Yes, it does. Where you have Dawkins stabbing Wolverine, and, well, this kind of spills toward the very end of the book. Yep. And they're back fighting each other again after being sort of allies for a few issues. Not sure why Dana Way did this for, where, like, oh, we have Doc and Wolverine be allies, and now they're hating each other again. For reasons. And of course, Cyber gets that, but he's not dead just yet. Nope. And then at the end of this two-parter, Nick Fury shows up. Yes, Nick Fury. Which, that was interesting. Yes. Now, I'm going to give these issues of Wolverine Origins. None of them are terrible. They're really good. I'm going to give them a 9.5 out of 10. Alright, next up it is Wolverine Volume 3, Issues 73 and 74. First up, 73. Now, for some reason, for these two issues, Marvel decided to make these books split books, telling anthology stories for 2 issues. Unknown why they did this for. This, of course, just comes after the Old Man Logan story, which I had previously covered that one, which started from 66 to 72. These are the 2 issues that came just between that and the start of the run when it was known as Dark Wolverine by Danny Way. These issues are basically have stories done by Danny Way and Jason Aaron. Yep, that's pretty much the gist of these stories. It's just basically just... Yeah, the first story just basically just Wolverine during his week where he, like, fights the Juggernaut. Teams up with New Avengers. Teams up with... fights other people. Yeah, it just basically explores Wolverine's week. Yep. And who does this one? This is A Mile in the Milskin. This is basically the Jason Aaron story with Adam Kubert, the artwork. Yes, that's who pretty much does the opening story arc. The opening story. The second story is The One Percenter. This is done by Daniel Way. And here's a fun fact for you. This story arc has actually been collected twice. Yes, twice. They actually collected this two-parter in the first trade for Wolverine, for the Dark Wolverine trade. Because Daniel Way wrote it, so they put it in the trade. The A story, mind you, I don't... Until the Jason Aaron Complete Collection came out, I don't think it's collected before. No, I don't think so. Let me take a look here. I'm sure it wasn't. Let me change the cover. Yeah, I don't think this was covered before. No. Yeah, I think these two-parter here was probably the first time I could think of where they actually collected this stuff here. Mm-hmm. Yes. It's kind of weird, though, it's like that, where you have this 3-parter, you have this 2-parter, you have the Jason Aaron stories, uncollected for a long time until Wolverine by Jason Aaron. That's when they're pretty much collected. Now, the One Percenter, just Wolverine their town. This artwork is done by Tommy Lee Edwards. And just Wolverine hang out in town for 2 issues. That's like hang out there, gets to a fight. You can kind of think of it as a standard Wolverine story. The artwork is very similar to the miniseries Snick. Yes, because it's the same artist. And you can also say it's just basically Wolverine versus Hell's Angels for this 2-parter. Yeah, that's simply put what it is. Yep. And they start in the second issue with the 1% or 2-parter, where they conclude in this particular issue. Yeah. The other one is basically just Wolverine just recapping his week in other books. Yeah. We saw guest appearance here by Spider-Man. And of course they worked together, and after with that little minor thing, and then that's it. Yep, that's it for Wolverine Volume 3, as what was known as Volume 3 before it was retitled to Dark Wolverine with issue 75. Yes, they'll continue the same numbering. Now, I thought as though when Wolverine hit 300 back, I think it was in 2000, I think it was in 2010, I think it was this happened. Yeah, I think it was 2010. 2010, 2011. When it hit the number that they would not have these issues as part of that particular, because in the feature, Logan in the feature role, then they would basically have, because it's Logan feature role, I thought they would include Wolverine Weapon X as part of that particular type of thing. But nope, they basically counted those issues as part of numbering. And with reviewing these two issues, I reviewed issues 66 through 90 for Wolverine Volume 3. Now, in the case of what the legacy number will call these ones, let's see. I think it was, I think for these issues here, because this is basically like about, let's see, 90 was like once as like 279 per se when it comes to the numbering for this book. Let's see, 20, that'd be 70. That would lower it down to about 60. I'm trying to think here about that. Let's see, I know 90 was basically the 279th issue. 80 was 269. This is probably 259. Yeah, 259 that one was. Take away about 4 issues, I think it was. Yeah, 4. So, I think for when it comes to, I'm basically spitballing this. This is just a theory that I reviewed from, according to Wolverine, the legacy for that one, according to Marvel Legacy for the book, I reviewed from issues, what's considered part of the issues. I think it was like issues like 255 to present. That's not bad. Not bad at all. I've got all that book done. There's still more book to take care of course. Yes, there's still going to be a few more trades before I go behind me, Volume 3. And I also have to go, which is the second volume for numbering. Alright, next up we have Deadpool by Daniel Way, Volume 3. This collects issues 32 to 39 of Deadpool Volume 2, 33.1, and 49.1. Daniel Way, of course, does all the issues. He writes all the issues. And the artwork is done by several different artists. Oh boy. We have Bong Zebo, who does 33.1 and 37.39. 36, 32, 36. Zelda Valia. Carla Baria does issues 33, 35, 40, 40, 44. Steve Espin does issues 45 to 49. John McCara does 49.1. And Scott Koblish does issue 49. Yeah, in the case of the first of 2.1s, I kind of forgot this one actually had another 0.1, where it just basically Wolverine taking on the Wrecking Crew, while he takes on a Wrecker for an issue. Yep, that's mainly the gist of issue. Yeah, just deal with the Wrecker for one issue. Yep, and then he did with a sword called Macho. Yes, Macho. Well, the artwork gets weird, to say the least, with these issues. Now, this issue is done by Zelda Valia, and it's not that good of an artwork. It's basically doing Wolverine gangster stuff while doing all this explosion stuff for that one issue. 33 is a Space Oddity story arc. Yep, Space Oddity, where Deadpool goes to space for several issues. Yes, Deadpool goes to space. And he kind of basically, gets involved with an alien. Yeah, it's a weird multi-parter. It's just him involved with an alien for a few issues, dealing with alien stuff. It's not standard Deadpool stuff. mean, aside from Deadpool himself, the only familiar face in this entire multi-parter, which I think wraps up around issue 40, I think it does. Of course, Bob Age of Hydra is here because, of course, he's here. It's Bob Age of Hydra. And we have a brief guest appearance by a Blind Owl. Yes, making one of her brief returns to the book. Yeah, it seems as though after Joe Kelly wrapped up his run, she very rarely made appearances afterwards. Yep. And then we have Wolverine versus the Hulk. No, Wolverine. It's Deadpool versus Hulk. Yeah, this really interesting scene we have basically Death herself getting into a hot tub with Deadpool. And of course, they can't draw her with a regular face. They have to give her the skeleton face for reasons. Yep. Yeah. And we gotta fight the Hulk. Yep, the Hulk. Yeah, we gotta fight the Hulk for these couple issues. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, Deadpool versus Hulk. Not the first these two fought each other. They actually fought each other last back in the previous volume for the series back in the 90s. Yep. And then we have Institutionalized, which is basically a multi-part of just Deadpool because he's crazy. But the mental asylum for a few issues. Of course. And we have this guy, of course, the appearance by Lady Death herself. Ooh, I gotta really think about this episode. Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, the last story arc here. Well, first we have You Complete Me, just a romance little mini arc. But it becomes really more interesting when, of course, Evil Deadpool shows up. Yep, and that's the last story arc for that one. Yes, Evil Deadpool. The whole purpose of this guy is that he's made up of body parts that fell off of Deadpool over the years that was stitched together. And Deadpool will fight this guy in this story arc, and of course Captain America thinks that he's responsible for some of the stuff that's happening over the course of the story. But nope, it's actually Evil Deadpool. And at the end of the story arc, Evil Deadpool dies. But he doesn't stay dead very long, because he pops up again and Deadpool kills Deadpool. Yeah, really interesting idea Danny Way did this. And does he pop up for any issues? No, he doesn't. And you're probably thinking, why doesn't he do that? The answer is, I have no idea. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. Now, the thing with Deadpool is that though this story arc itself would not be the end of the volume. No, it will continue on for another 14 issues before finally ending. Yep. Oh, by the way, 49.1 is a musical issue. Really fun. Just deal with Thunderbolts. Yeah, there was Thunderbolts for one issue, but that's it for that one. I mean, you would think Deadpool would die here, but nope, he would not die. Like, he would pop up again, like, after the story can wrap up, and then, of course, he would pop up for the last remaining issues of the volume before finally ending. And then he pops up again for, well, Deadpool kills Deadpool. And then he pops up one more time in Deadpool the Mercs Money. And that's it for Evil Deadpool. I mean, it's nice to cover some of his early stuff, but there's like not much else left to cover for the guy. I mean, the only appearance left to go is just basically she's 1563. But Deadpool kills Deadpool story is really good. The Evil Deadpool stuff. Yeah. Really interesting stuff in here. We're going to be wrapping up basically this run. Per se, got one trade left to go and then we'll be done with this book. Yep. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's actually not that bad of a book. Yep. So yeah, that's it for Cycle Review. Stay tuned for next week, which is going to be later on today. More comic corners and a few anime reviews. Hyrule of the Kingdom, Case Study of Antos. But not Shaman King. Shaman King is still not been uploaded yet. Not really sure why. Okay? Next video. Bye.